Laudetur Jesus Christus. Vatican and World News.
In the headlines this Tuesday, February 16th, Pope Francis updates the legal code of Vatican City-State. At the United Nations, the Holy See says the empowerment of women will promote global security, stability and sustainable development. And the Order of Malta provides humanitarian aid to war-torn Iraq. In the Vatican, I'm Francesca Merlo. Pope Francis has issued a motu proprio updating the Vatican Penal Code and adapting it to the changed sensibilities of the times. Among the provisions, the new norms reform the process for trials in absentia and ensure that a single office can prosecute a case throughout the different stages of the judicial process. Christopher Wells tells us more.
In 3 articles, Pope Francis' motu proprio, introducing modifications in the area of justice, provides for a reduction of sentences, the possibility of agreeing on a program of rehabilitation for offenders, and suspension of trials in cases of legitimate impediment on the part of the defendant. The first article makes changes to the penal code, establishing a reduction of 45 to 120 days for each year served for convicted offenders who, while serving their sentences, have behaved in such a way as to presume their repentance and have profitably participated in the program of treatment and rehabilitation. The second article, among other things, amends the Code for Penal Procedures, abolishing the so-called processo in contumacia, a particular form of trial in absentia, which was still present in the Vatican Code. If the accused did not appear, the trial took place on the basis of the documentation provided. Now, however, if the defendant refuses to attend the hearing without a legitimate excuse, the trial will proceed, but with the defendant being represented by his defense counsel. A third article includes an important amendment allowing prosecutors to ensure that a single promoter of justice is able to argue cases at every step of the proceedings, rather than having to appoint a new prosecutor for each stage of the appeals process. The new regulations update the criminal justice system of Vatican State and remodel norms in order to respond to the needs of the times and establish procedures for penalties aimed at the rehabilitation of offenders. I'm Christopher Wells.
Pope Francis sent a video message on Monday on the 6th anniversary of the death of 21 Coptic Orthodox Christians killed in Libya by the so-called Islamic State. Today is a day I have in my heart, that February of 2015, the Pope said. I hold in my heart the baptism of blood, those 21 men baptized as Christians with water and the Spirit, and that day also baptized with blood. They are our saints, saints of all Christians, saints of all Christian denominations and traditions, the Pope affirmed. They are those who have blanched their lives in the blood of the Lamb. They are those of the people of God, the faithful people of God. The occasion was commemorated virtually on Friday in an online event which saw the attendance of Coptic Orthodox Patriarch Tawadros II. The Primate of the Anglican Communion, Archbishop Justin Welby of Canterbury, was also present, along with several other dignitaries. The Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Pietro Parolin, has expressed great satisfaction at how young people from conflict zones are brought together to build peace. This is exactly what the association called Rondine Cittadella della Pace does. On Tuesday, he visited the association's centre in the tiny medieval hamlet of Cittadella della Pace in the heart of Italy's Tuscany region. Robin Gomes has more.
I will tell the Pope that peace is being built here, little by little, brick by brick. These are the words of Vatican Secretary of State Cardinal Pietro Parolin when he paid a brief visit on Tuesday to young people in the tiny medieval hamlet of Cittadella della Pace in Italy's Tuscany region. The village is home to the so-called the Rondine Cittadella della Pace, an association that promotes a culture of peace and dialogue, particularly by working with young men and women from countries who live or have just experienced wars and conflicts. Simply called the Rondine, the non-profit international peace initiative was inspired by the project called the World House, which hosts young people from countries where currently or recently conflicts have assumed violent forms. These young people accept to live with their own so-called enemy in order to learn how to face their conflict and turn it into an opportunity for change. The World House program lasts 2 years. During this period, participants can experiment with innovation through conviviality, daily activities, non-formal and formal education. Speaking with you, I discover that you come from areas full of tension and conflicts, and that this effort to build peace here is a beautiful thing, Cardinal Parolin told the young people who participated in a year of training based on the so-called Rondine method and leadership. Cardinal Parolin said he would carry their greetings to Pope Francis and talk to him about their commitment. Among those he met on Tuesday were 11 young men and women chosen for the project Mediterranean, the Frontier of Peace, Education and Reconciliation, which the Italian Bishops' Conference launched in the southern Italian city of Bari in February last year. I am Robin Gomes.
The Holy See's permanent representative to the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, has highlighted the important role of women's economic empowerment in the promotion of global security, stability and sustainable development. Father Benedict Mayaki tells us more.
Monsignor Janusz Urbanchik, the permanent representative of the Holy See to the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, has called for the empowerment of women in every area of life and work. At the same time, he encouraged the OSCE's Economic and Environmental Forum to consider this important issue in its 2021 cycle. Speaking during the first preparatory meeting of the 29th OSCE Economic and Environmental Forum held online on Monday, Monsignor Urbanchik stressed that the desire to protect and to promote the real equality of every human person and the acknowledgement of the complementarity of women and men remain important priorities of the Holy See. He lamented that the persistence of many forms of discrimination offensive to the dignity and vocation of women in the area of work is due to a long series of conditioning that penalizes them. He noted that many women have seen their prerogatives misrepresented and they have been relegated to the margins of society and reduced to servitude. Reiterating Pope St. John Paul's words in his 1995 letter to women, Monsignor Urbanchik highlighted the urgent need to achieve real equality in all areas, including equal pay for work, protection of working mothers, fairness in career advancement, equality of spouses as regards family rights, and the recognition of the rights and duties of citizens in a democratic state. He further emphasized that increased economic and political empowerment and the promotion of women's participation in public life will contribute to increased peace and security within both the society at large and the fundamental cell of the society, which is the family. I'm Father Benedict Mayaki.
The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has secured the commitment of several international airline companies for the transportation of COVID-19 vaccines in order to ensure equitable access to nations around the world. At least 10 international airlines signed up for UNICEF's humanitarian air freight initiative aimed at prioritizing the delivery of COVID-19 vaccines, essential medicines, medical devices and other supplies to lower-income countries. The bishops of Colombia have welcomed Pope Francis's recent appeal for Venezuelan migrants, nearly 2 million of whom have settled in Colombia. The Pope's appeal followed on the heels of a government decision to provide protection for 1.7 million of the migrants. As Devin Watkins reports, the Archbishop of Bogotá hailed the new law that offers Venezuelans the chance to restart their lives.
Colombian President Iván Duque announced early last week that the government would provide temporary legal status to over 1.7 million Venezuelan immigrants. The temporary protection statute will allow Venezuelans who arrived before January 31st to stay and work legally for at least 10 years. International praise has poured in for the move, with Pope Francis expressing his personal gratitude to Colombia on Sunday. "Thank you, Colombia," said the Pope at the Angelus address, "for what you do for migrants." He added the statute would foster welcoming, protecting, and integrating of Venezuelans in Colombia. Following the Pope's appeal, the Archbishop of Bogotá in Colombia welcomed his words of support in an interview with Vatican Radio. The bishops of Colombia and the entire people of God welcomed the Holy Father's message with great joy, said Archbishop Luis José Rueda Aparicio. "It encourages and strengthens us in our efforts on behalf of migrants." The Archbishop said Pope Francis's appeal was clear recognition of the efforts which Colombia has made despite the situation caused by the pandemic. Neighboring Venezuela has faced a deepening crisis since 2014, which has resulted in an intractable economic and political crisis. Over 5.4 million people have fled the nation, nearly 2 million of whom have settled in Colombia. Archbishop Rueda praised the temporary protection statute and the opportunities it offers Venezuelan immigrants. The law allows migrants to contribute positively to Colombian society in areas ranging from work to cultural enrichment, he said. Many Venezuelan migrants, he added, have long hoped for the chance to restart their lives in Colombia. I'm Devin Watkins.
The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has expressed outrage after a rocket attack in Iraq's Erbil, which caused casualties. Nathan Morley report.
The Regional Ministry of the Interior in the semi-autonomous region of Kurdistan in northern Iraq confirmed that several rockets were fired in Erbil on Monday evening. In a statement, Mr. Blinken said the attack killed one civilian contractor and injured several members of the US-led coalition. As it stands, there are currently 2,500 US troops in Iraq to support Iraqi forces in battles against remnants of the so-called Islamic State. They're also there for training and advisory purposes. According to reports from the country, 2 rockets landed at Erbil Airport and the third landed outside the regional counter-terrorism service. Mr. Blinken said he had been in contact with the Iraqi Prime Minister and authorities in Erbil to find out exactly what happened. The Iraqi Prime Minister has ordered a joint investigation with the Kurdish regional authorities into the rocket attack. Over the years, Baghdad Airport, US military bases, and the US Embassy in the Green Zone have been targeted by mortar and rocket attacks. It's understood that Kurdish forces have now intensified security measures at the airport, whilst military helicopters are flying overhead. No group has so far claimed responsibility for the attack on the relatively peaceful Kurdistan region. For Vatican Radio, this is Nathan Morley reporting.
And finally, Pope Francis is preparing to travel to Iraq from the 5th to the 8th of March. It will be the first time a pope visits the nation, and Francis will travel each day to a different region, visiting Baghdad, the plain of Mosul and Karakosh. The long-suffering population is awaiting the visit and preparing for it with prayer initiatives led by the Chaldean Patriarch Cardinal Louis Sacco. On the ground with a series of development programs for the war-torn people is the staff of Malteser International, the Order of Malta's humanitarian agency. The Grand Chancellor of the Order of Malta, Albrecht von Boesleger, told Vatican Radio about some of the projects the Order is running and about his hopes for the visit.
We hope that the visit of the Holy Father will give encouragement and hope to the people, which are still threatened by fear and uncertainty about their future. Our program employs an integrated multi-sectoral approach in order mainly to support the return of families in the most effective way. It's a program based on 4 pillars: providing sustainable and dignified shelters through the reconstruction of war-damaged houses. Then we try to enhance livelihoods and boosting economic developments through cash grants and business development, increase access to quality education for returning children by rehabilitating schools and teacher training, and promoting social cohesion and peace building through interreligious dialogue and community integration activities. So it's a vast project, and it's running well, but still on precarious grounds.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Vatican and World News. For more on these and other stories, please be sure to visit our web portal at www.vaticannews.va. Many thanks go to Vincenzo Proto and TJ in studio. In the Vatican, I'm Francesca Merlo.